So honestly, everything just seems to be improved on this camera compared to the first version. And it's just like, it's what the first version should have been in the first place. So I've been using the R6 Mark II now for about 3 days. And honestly, really impressed by it. You know, it fixes a lot of the quirks and things that I didn't necessarily like about the first version, which is the one that I have and constantly use. For example, the overheating is pretty much gone. Like, I have not experienced it whatsoever, not even once. And that's one big thing, because like on the R6 Mark I, when you flip right into 4K 60, it immediately gives you like a 25-minute timer, like regardless of the temperature, and then it just starts to go down from there. And with this one, even though it tells you it can possibly overheat whenever you jump into 4K 60, it hasn't happened whatsoever. Like, no timer, nothing saying that it's overheating. So that's a big deal already, because in 4K 24 and 30s, from what I understand, it just doesn't happen at all. Like, you could just record endlessly in that until you run out of battery pretty much, which is a big thing, because also no record limit. That's really, really, really nice. So one of the things that they fixed on this camera that all cameras nowadays should have, I feel like, but it is what it is. So honestly, everything just seems to be improved on this camera compared to the first version. And it's just like, it's what the first version should have been in the first place, because if you look at the specs side by side, it's not even a big deal. The no more cropped 4K, because there is like a 1.07 crop on the first version, which is kind of annoying, especially for real estate. And then the no record limit is great, because I rented this camera specifically because I was supposed to do a big video shoot today, an agent bio shoot, but we've had to reschedule it. So we're aiming to shoot it the day after return this camera, so hopefully it still works out that way, because I really want to use it for that, not just rely on my camera and have 2 camera angles. But the no record limit, the pretty much fixed overheating, no crop, the sharper image, that's the other thing. So I'm gonna do some more comparison tests, but even looking at it on the camera or just in editing, it looks so much sharper, because it's oversampled from 6K versus oversampled from 5K on the first one, and I feel like I can tell it makes a difference. It just looks like crispier 4K, and that's really nice, because then if you have to crop in, you can do that and it still looks really good. I'm also not using any filters, so it doesn't skew the image that you get from this or whatsoever. I'm kind of annoyed using filters right now, especially variable NDs, because like right now I'm cranking the shutter. It's like at 1/25,000 of a second, because I did some tests with this, with like my variable ND and even my polarizer, and it's just kind of annoying that it just kind of like still gives you color casts, like no matter how good they are, because the ones that I use are pretty good, but you still get some sort of like small color shift, or if you have your variable ND, it can mess with the blue skies. And so one of the big things, like how I mentioned on the last video, the C70, that's so nice, is you have internal NDs, and it just makes the image so great. I want to know from you guys, does this look super choppy, like you can tell it's like a really fast shutter, or does it not matter, you know, when you're shooting for social media content or stuff like this? So let me know about that. So pretty much initial thoughts so far, because one thing I have to note is I haven't done any real estate shoots with this yet. I'm gonna be doing some next week, but initial thoughts is that this could pretty much be like the perfect real estate camera for me. I gotta say for me, because for others the R6 Mark I could work perfect, but I shoot everything in 4K, use 4K 60 when I'm outside, 4K 30 inside, and it just looks so good. So that's not something I could come down from and shoot in 1080. I think that makes it perfect. So that is definitely one thing that is still really annoying to deal with, because especially now that we're getting into summer and it's super hot here in Texas, and we're not even in summertime yet, hot as it can get, but already the few listings that I've shot on the R6 Mark I that I've been using for the past year and a half, it gets this close to overheating, like minutes left, and I still have a ton of video to do, and it actually has overheated sometimes, which is like so frustrating. I remember one listing not too long ago, I had to drop down to 1080p, because that's the only way you can film video once it overheats, and I don't want to do that. It just looks so good, I can tell a difference, and I want my stuff to be like as high quality as possible, so the 4K is what I want to shoot everything in, and because, you know, for vertical cropping in and stuff like that. Hopefully this camera fixes all of those issues. It seems like it will, because like I said, as long as I've been using it, there's been zero overheating whatsoever. The uncropped 4K, the no record limits, the sharper sensor, and for photos, I took some photos last night. I was at a lake testing the camera, and they look really, really good. I need to do an actual comparison to see if you can really see the difference between 20 megapixels and 24 megapixels. I feel like you really won't, but obviously having that extra 4 is better than not having that. Everything is just kind of upgraded on this camera. That this camera honestly fixes everything that I had an issue with on mine. So see, now I'm just curious to see how the listings are gonna go. And the fact that you can film handheld, you know, I'm using a 15-35 with the lens stabilization on, which pairs with the internal stabilization. And I'm filming this at 35 mil, and I think it looks great based on my other tests. You know, these are, from what I think, compared to my camera, the stabilization has gotten a lot better. You still get some wobbles at 15, I think. So here's 15, you know, we'll see. But I think the stabilization has definitely improved. And then I noticed too that if you pair it with the electronic stabilization, it looks really, really good. Obviously it crops in a bit, but you can honestly get like gimbal-like movements for sure. So another cool thing that this camera has is false color, but this is another super dumb Canon thing, is if you have log preview on, which you most definitely always want to, you can't put it on. So I still just use zebras because I can just set it to like 50%, and I know that if that appears on the brightest part of my face, it's gonna be properly exposed, and so I still use that. So unless you can figure something else out, it would be nice to be able to use the false color for sure. Woo! It is hot out here. Time to head back home. But yeah, like right now it is super hot, filming in 4K 24 this whole time, been out like 30 minutes, and doesn't even say that the camera's getting hot or overheating whatsoever. So working great so far. So leave a like if you enjoyed, comment down your thoughts, subscribe if you haven't already. I would love for you guys to be part of the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.